Sports Talk.
That really shows what happened.
If you came to groove, there's no reason to prove.
RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.
And now you've got yourself something funky.
RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.
Welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am Michael Buckhouse, the host of the show. I am joined today, as always, with Billy Hatton. Billy, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Ready to roll, man. Cold and sunny El Paso. Ready to talk some sports, though.
And speaking of cold and sunny, here in Louisville, Kentucky, we have Matthew Lyle. Matthew, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. I don't ask why. This is probably the worst show I've ever done, but I'm excited for this one. I woke up this morning. You know, usually, we do this in the middle of the day. I wake up and I kind of procrastinate and I put things off until more time for the show. I'm sorry, but for this morning, man, I just woke up. I got to read them, and I was wanting to start talking about them right there in our message. And I was like, oh, so I don't know. The questions are about about the normal, but just this morning, man, I felt it. So let's hope this is a good show.
Well, Matthew, let's go ahead and start this show. And I'm going to ask you this first question here. Packers 49ers game. If you guys did not catch this game last night, it was a very exciting, it was the word I'm looking for. It's slipping my. It's surprising that it was an exciting game. 49ers coming there pretty lackadaisical. Packers kind of stumbling in there, and it turned out to be a great game. So, Matthew, I asked you this. Did the Packers win the game, or did 49ers lose that game last night?
I'm going to go Packers won the game, and the only reason I am is because this is what I've really been saying about the Packers, and I think there's some other teams you can throw in there. These are two mediocre teams, if you look at an entire roster, 1 through 53, especially when Garoppolo went down. And it was one team that had a quarterback that overperformed. And he, in my opinion, he overperformed for about 59 minutes. And then you just had another quarterback that's just good. He just knows what he's doing. So in this situation, that was the difference, is a solid quarterback. So that's why I have to say the Packers won it, because he did what was necessary to get the job done. He was able to dink and dunk down the field throughout the game. He was able to find his receivers. Even when it didn't look like he was going to have enough time to get it done, he was able to. And I think the Packers are a pretty bad team, but it just kind of lends itself to how good Aaron Rodgers is to keep pulling these out. And props to C.J. Beathard. He outplayed himself. He might have made himself some money. He might have had get him a gig next year if he can continue this season out. But I just think that even though both teams, in my opinion, are very mediocre, Aaron Rodgers was by far the best player on that field last night, and he showed it.
I'm going to go on the other side of the spectrum, and I always hate to take things away from teams, especially I'm a sports guy, and I would hate to be on this other side saying that somebody gave the game away. But I think the 49ers gave this game away. In the first half, I thought that they were a little bit more aggressive with Beathard, and not aggressive as throwing the ball down the field, but letting him make the plays instead of having other guys make plays for him. And I thought in the second half, they had a little lead. I thought they were playing a little timid, as most teams do. I always say, when you try to go to this prevent offense, so to speak, that's when you always lose. You have to do what got you there in the first place. And Matthew said it perfectly. I'm sitting there watching that game last night, and I'm like, I have a 6-year-old daughter right now who can get open against these DBs. It's like the Goodwin and all these Kittle. these guys were running wide open. It seemed like all game. And it seemed like in the second half, they kind of dialed that back. Also, I do agree. I think C.J. Beathard, I think he overperformed. Maybe a little Matt Flynn-esque here. And, he could trick some team into giving him some money. I just think, I think the 49ers didn't do what they needed to do at the end of the game. And then at the end of the game, when they needed him to make a play, now there's too much pressure on him. He's never been in these type situations. Matthew says it all the time. You have to learn how to win. He hasn't been in those situations to know how to do that yet. And I don't think, Shanahan put him in a good spot in the second half to do that. And Aaron Rodgers, he did what he did. He take advantage of it. Now, I do want to say this. I think when we have superstar players, and I know it comes with the territory, we tend to want to over give them credit. And, there was 2 throws last night by Aaron Rodgers late in the game, that one touchdown to Devontae Adams and the one on the right sideline to St. Brown. I thought the announcers was kind of over giving Aaron Rodgers a lot too much credit for that. The throw the Devontae Adams. If you look at the DB, I don't know why he thought that he could jump 30 feet in the air instead of just running under the football. He jumped way too early. The ball went right over his head. Devontae Adams barely had to jump. That's how kind of underthrown that ball was. The ball on the sideline, oh my God, what a great throw by Rodgers. No, it's a great catch. He did what most bad quarterbacks can do, throw the ball behind the receiver. Everybody can do that. But good game by the Packers. I guess they needed this one to stay alive because they definitely couldn't drop this one and have any chance of coming back in that division. I think the Minnesota Vikings is finally starting to roll. But I think it was more on the 49ers losing that game.
Oh, all right here. So, I got a question for you guys here. Do you think CJ played himself into a opportunity for a starting quarterback job for next year? And if so, what team do you think really fits him the best? Just a quick off the top answer.
I mean, you're a quarterback. You can always play yourself. Look, not to get political on this, being a quarterback in the NFL is like being a rich man in America. No matter how low life hits, you can still do stuff. I mean, look, O.J. Simpson got out of jail. He can still live life as a rich man because he was rich one time. He's famous. Being a quarterback in the NFL is kind of the same. Even when you're, or maybe even a coach too, even when you're at your worst, somebody's still going to need you. We talked about it. We've alluded to it off the air. Maybe the Giants. Maybe they decide to address. Maybe they're not really ready to move on from Eli, which I don't know why for this year. But maybe you're not really ready to move on from Eli, or you can't afford it. So you approach other directions in the draft, and you sign a C.J. Beathard, and you use him as the way that the Broncos are using Case Keenum. But buyer beware. Billy brought up Matt Flynn. We've seen this a lot. We've seen 1 or 2 games get quarterbacks a lot of money and it not equal a lot of success. Matt Castle, you might even be able to say the same about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want to because I know his injury, but he got all that money off 5-6 games. So there's always going to be a need, a spot, and an opportunity for quarterbacks that at least pretend to look good. I think I need to say that because I'm not saying that Nate Peterman's better than other unnamed free agents that we don't want to get into because we just don't want to derail the show on a different topic. But I don't think he's better than some of these free agent quarterbacks. But he fits the system, and they can pretend. Management can pretend that he's their future, the fan bases. And I think C.J. Beathard, after last night's performance, definitely could get that.
Matthew, you took the words right out of my mouth. As soon as Mike asked this question, I wrote down in my notepad, Nate Peterman. I mean, this guy has thrown 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and it seems like the Bills, I guess that's all they have. I'm not sure. Now, I heard that they did sign a veteran quarterback. I'm slipping his name right now. But that goes to your point that as a quarterback, you're always going to be needed. At some point, some franchise is going to say, hey, We need you to come in, spot us a game or two while this guy recovers from whatever it is. And it's the nature of the game. It's quarterback. You know, there's always going to be a spot for you. So I agree. Could he? Yeah, but I don't think he will. But I mean, anything is possible in the NFL when you're thinking quarterbacks.
So, like, I know we're going to get to into this later in the show, but I saw a stat before the game last night that anytime Aaron Rodgers throws the ball over 50 times in a game, he is 1-5. I do believe, if I remember correctly. Last night he threw the ball for 46 times. Do you think the Packers need to address that tailback spot for them to even be a 500 team by the end of the year?
I don't know. Only reason I'm gonna say no. I think they can get there just because I think Aaron Rodgers is capable of doing that, and I think there is that sweet spot of throwing the ball 40 times and then 50 times. I think there is a sweet spot in there. The only reason I'm going to say no, and I know that Billy could argue this or anybody could argue this with the weather and all that, but I don't. The Packers aren't built for the slow burn. The Packers aren't built to get in a 10-7 game with you. The Packers are built for Aaron Rodgers to put up 24 to 38 points and then hope you can't in Lambeau, in the cold, against hoping to turn you over on a sack by Clay Matthews or maybe with the corner they drafted out of Louisville, drawing a blank on his name. Maybe he can intercept you. You know, there's things like that without getting a penalty. They're not built to ground and pound, in my opinion, and that's not even it. You could bring in Le'Veon Bell would be a good for a passing, but you could bring in Melvin Gordon or Saquon Barkley, and I still don't think you're built for that on the other positions on the field. So I think they're built to let Aaron Rodgers go out and get you a win like they did last night.
I agree. You know, with Matthew at this point, I think that's the way the Packers do it. You know, Aaron Rodgers is their go-to. Even when they had decent running backs in the past, it was still pass-heavy with Rodgers. And I think that's the difference between, you know, Brady and a lot of these guys. Is Brady, to me, and I'm not saying a lot of these guys don't care about winning, but for me, and this is the one thing I always admire about Brady is he doesn't care about the stats. Just give me the W at the end of the day. So that means handing the ball off to my rookie running back, Sony Michel, 24 times against an undefeated Chiefs team. That's what we're going to do. I think the Packers, teams like the Packers, you know, the Saints with Breeze, I think these guys are just built, no matter who they have in the backfield, that we are a gunslinging team. We're gonna win and lose with the arm of our quarterback. And so I think the Packers, that's the way that they have to win. That's the way that they're wired. You give Aaron Rodgers the ball and you let him work. So yeah, I agree. I think that's the formula for winning.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic of today's show, Le'Veon Bell. He told the media about 2 weeks ago that he planned on returning Week 7 or Week 8 back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is now confirmed that he will be returning back to the Steelers Monday, October 22nd, because the Steelers are on the bye week, and they actually don't practice until Thursday this week. It has been quoted that Le'Veon Bell says, I missed the game, and when I get back, I plan on giving it my all, and I still want I still do what to go out there to win the Super Bowl, which that doesn't makes no sense to me. But he says he wants to come back, give it his all, win the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Matthew Lyle, the question comes to you: how will the Steelers welcome Le'Veon Bell back on October 22nd?
I don't think they will. I don't. Look, you can say what you want because we've heard this with other athletes. You know, we talked about this with Dez Bryant. We've heard this with Colin Kaepernick. We've heard this with other players saying, hey, in 10 days he's going to sign a contract, or in 5 days he's going to do this. Back when this first came out, literally the day after Earl Thomas broke his leg, I said this makes no sense to me. Nothing has changed. Actually, Le'Veon Bell may have gotten a lot of sympathy from non-Steeler fans after seeing what happened to Earl Thomas, after seeing somebody handling quote unquote the right way and then having it blow up in their face. After seeing all that, for the next day for him to say this, I just didn't buy it. I thought maybe, in my opinion, I thought it was to drum up some trade interest when they're like, oh, he's willing to play now. But I don't, maybe he didn't get, maybe the Steelers or the Bell didn't get the anything that intrigued them. I don't see him being there Monday. Now, I don't know the exact verbatim letter of the law of the franchise tag. I know there's something around week 11, but I don't see him playing this season, at least for the Steelers. And I sure don't see him being there by Monday. So I can't even fathom what's going to happen if they try to, because James Conner's playing decent. They're actually the much talked about Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown connection starting to smooth out. I think Antonio Brown's had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's really turned it on. I don't see them welcoming him really back, and I don't see him wanting to come back. So I know the reports say A and the reports say B. I don't see it happening, and I'm not going to buy into it.
I think they will welcome him back. I don't think he will start. I think right now the team likes Conner. I tweeted out something on Sunday after James Conner had the first long run, the one that they called down right at the 1-yard line. And I said it seemed like these offensive linemen, like they over-exaggerate they praise for James Conner whenever he do something well. And it just seems kind of childish to me. Now, I think he is coming back, and he will start. There's no way that you're going to keep a talent like that off the field, especially when you're paying this guy around $850-something thousand per game. You're not gonna let him sit on the sideline just to sit on the sideline, especially when you know that you're not going to re-sign him anyways. So what does it hurt you to go out and basically do what the Dallas Cowboys did to DeMarco Murray? We're not going to re-sign you to that deal you want. So let's go out here and give you 400 plus carries, and we not re-sign you and let you go to somebody else and let them deal with damaged goods. So I think he's going to come back. I think he will play. I just think James Conner will start. And James Conner, to your point, he has been pretty good. I think he got like 453 yards on the season, rush yards. That's 5th in the league, 7 touchdowns on the year, and that's 7th in the league. But he has some games in there where he was just poor. 19-yard game, like a 21-yard game. But he had those 3 games, and those 3 games, I believe it was against the Bengals, the Steelers, and I believe it was I can't remember the other team right off the top of my head right now, where he got 135 yards, 110 yards, and 111 yards. All 3 games where he got over 100 yards, he scored 2 touchdowns in. The other 3 games, he got 1 touchdown combined. So they need Le'Veon. Whether they know it or not, they need Le'Veon. They're still behind in that AFC North. They still have some climbing to do. They do own the tiebreaker now with the Bengals. But they need Le'Veon. James Conner don't give them the same electricity that Le'Veon could give them. When Le'Veon splits out wide, who do you cover now? Especially with the emergence of Juju Smith-Schuster and Vance McDonald. Who can you double now? You got Antonio Brown, you got Schuster, you got Vance McDonald, and you got Le'Veon lined out wide. Maybe now you can throw a little wrinkle in there like what the Ravens do with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, and you leave James Conner in the backfield. Now what do you do? So I think it'll be stupid, honestly, for the Steelers not to get all they can out of Le'Veon, especially knowing that they're not going to re-sign him anyways.
Look, I agree, and you're absolutely right if that's the game plan. Like, I think I'm making like just a proverbial piece of paper here that the Steelers have everything written down, and the majority of that paper is a plan without Le'Veon Bell. And then down at the bottom is a little box, and inside that is everything Billy just said if Le'Veon Bell returns. I don't think that's a secret, but I think that exact reason is why Le'Veon is not coming back. I do not think, because look, Billy said something that to the naked ear, to just off the top, sounded absurd. 400 touches for Le'Veon in say 8 games. But don't be surprised if he comes back, if the Steelers try to make that happen, that's on average, over 20 plus catches. I could see him getting 30 carries, 10 catches. And I think that's the exact reason he does not come back. He knows that to them, he is house money. Billy alluded to it perfect. You're not re-signing him next year. You prefer that he go to the Colts on one good leg. You prefer that he's on his last mileage when he goes there. You prefer that if you're the Steelers. And and Le'Veon knows that. And Le'Veon knows that it behooves the Steelers to get a fresh running back right now when everyone's linebackers aren't. When everyone's DBs aren't as crisp and fresh as they were a month ago or 2 months ago, depending on if he came back. Everybody knows that the Steelers have the most to gain. Even because, Billy, you know as well as I do, the nature of the NFL, the greed of those owners. Let's just say he comes back this week, has roughly 10 games. And in that 10 games, he rushes for 2,000 yards. He receives 1,000 additional yards. He comes up with a total of 30 touchdowns. Wins the Super Bowl for the Steelers. Those guys are going to still find a reason not to pay him. His money, in my opinion, is not being affected one way or the other. Because even if he puts on that amazing season, averaging 20 yards a carry, absurd to think about. They're still going to say, man, you're almost 30. Man, you racked up 3,000 yards in 10 games. I don't know how that's going to treat your body. They're going to still find a reason to not pay that man what he's wanting. I think Le'Veon knows that. I think Le'Veon's just going to sit this season out. And like I said a couple weeks ago, with the injury to Earl Thomas, everyone outside the city of Pittsburgh, even if you don't like it, has to say in an honest moment, I get it. I get it now. I don't think he's coming back.
Okay.
I agree. You said it. You said it perfect, Matthew. And that was some of the reasons for what you just said, and the reasons that I brought up. That was part of the reason why I thought that he would just wait it out to week 11. What's the point? You already sat out 6 games so far. It's week 7 coming up. Obviously, you're not going to report this week. What do you have to lose at this point? Because you done missed out on $855,000 7 times already, or 6 times already. So clearly, to you, it's not about the money. So what would you come back for? If you love the game of football, as you say you do, why weren't you there week 1? So for me, you done sat out this long. You might as well just come back week 11, sign your franchise tender. That way you can be eligible to sign as a free agent anywhere in the offseason. But I don't think he does that. And I just think you said it. The owners are greedy. Doesn't matter what he do for that organization. They still won't re-sign him. And it's a dicey situation here.
So even with the emergence of James Conner, possibly being that second tailback that Bell needs to basically get in there and get those tough 3 or 4 yard gains plays, you don't think he would see the upside of that and stay with Steelers in the end?
No, there's no upside for it. If anything, you got to remember, like, these athletes are wired different. They probably look at the way James Conner's been playing as kind of a slap in the face. I don't think he has any reason. I don't think he has any interest, motive, or reasoning to come back.
I agree.
All right, guys. So let's go
it
ahead.
It benefits him at nothing at all.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and switch gears to the NBA. Tonight, NBA season tips off. We have the 76ers at the Celtics and Thunders at the Warriors. So the question of the day, the month, the off season is, Matthew, who you got winning the East?
Just the East? Look, I don't think this is going to be – I'm going to say something that's going to hold for the West too. The NBA does not give itself – does not want to lend itself to parity and many surprises. Even if you look at the few years that the 8th seed beat the 1 seed, the 1 seed wasn't the true favorite. It wasn't the, there's been years that LeBron Cavs wasn't the 1 seed, that Boston was the 1 seed, or someone else was the 1 seed. Still not the true favorite. And so I think the East and the West have their favorites, and really everyone around them are doing one or two different things, moving down or trending up. But the ones that are trending up, I don't quite feel confident that, as Billy alluded to, that I say all the time, and I'm very firm in this in any sport, they're not learning how to win. As good as Philadelphia looked in the regular season last year, they reverted in the playoffs. I saw nothing in that playoffs that said, hey, guys, we're taking a step forward. Even Boston, I saw them the year before, even though both seasons ended in losses to the Cavs, I seen them improve. I seen them take a step. I seen them take what they learned from the previous year and apply it to the next year. I didn't see that from Philadelphia in the playoffs. Miami Heat, I don't know what they got. Cleveland, they tell you, we're still the favorites in the East. Let's be real, they're not. They got some good pieces, but it's not enough. The Bucks, they're kind of like I actually think the Bucks will be better than the Sixers, but I think they'll be this year's Sixers. They'll have a really strong season, but they still don't know how to win when the playoffs come. When it comes to playing the best teams 4 out of 7, when you're playing 2 back-to-back nights and traveling across the country to play again, I don't have faith in anyone in the East but Boston. So I got to go Boston right now coming out of the East.
I'm right there with you, Matthew. Just to start off, I got Boston winning the East. To your Philly point, I said it all year last year. I don't know what is the hype about this team. You got a Ben Simmons who, to me, I don't want to say overrated, because I think that's a little over the top, but I think he gets a little too much love when he doesn't really deserve it. I get it. He's 6'10". He got point guard like abilities other than he can't dribble, which is the reason why TJ McConnell had to play the actual point guard position in the playoffs, because Ben Simmons couldn't get anybody involved because he can't dribble. Nobody respects him when you can't dribble and you don't have a jumper. When all your points live in the paint. Joel Embiid, I think he's easily top 2-3 center in the NBA. He just can't stay healthy. I don't think that they are there yet. To your point, Matthew, they can't learn how to win. They blew 3 games against Boston. When in the final seconds, they were winning, and they just gave it away. Costly turnovers, 2 and 3 turnovers on back-to-back possessions, and it's like this team is not ready to win, which is another reason why I thought LeBron would never go to Philly. For what? He got to teach people how to win again. Boston is right there. They get Kyrie Irving back. They get Gordon Hayward back, who was at least one of the top 2 or 3 guards, in the Western Conference when he was playing for Utah. He just never really got that kind of recognition. Tatum came out last year. Brown actually took a leap last year. Rozier took a leap without Kyrie. He got his confidence up. We know what Al Horford does. They still got Morris over there. They still got Smart. That team is loaded. I just think with LeBron going out of the East, I think this sets up a Boston-Toronto Western Conference Finals matchup. But before I get out of here, surprise team this year coming out of the East, Washington Wizards. They did get Dwight Howard, which I think is a big upgrade from Marcin Gortat. To me, he's a better rim protector. He's better in pick and roll. And last year, he had one of those type seasons again, 17-12. I think that's about all they're going to need on that team with Bradley Beal and John Wall, Kelly Oubre, and the guys.
All right, Matthew Lyle, who wins the West this year?
Once again, let me just echo the East on this. You have 2 types. You have the favorite, Golden State Warriors. I don't think that's a secret. And then you have 2 types of teams. You have the teams trending down and the teams trending up. And the teams trending up, in my opinion, aren't ready to win yet. The Jazz, I really like them. I really like Donovan Mitchell. But I still think they got some things to learn. The Lakers with LeBron, I think that's going to be the future. Obviously, I think their big plan is to bring in more All-Stars. But like this year, I think they're going to do all right. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think there's enough guys around LeBron. You know, LeBron couldn't win last year or struggled to win in past years with guys who know how to win, with guys who have won titles. So now he's with guys who don't. And, I mean, I guess Rondo has one, but that was many years ago. I think he's not – I don't think that team's quite there yet. The Pelicans, Anthony Davis, still learning how to win when the playoffs come. Everything I said about the East still holds up here. And then, you know, let's not even talk to the fact that the Warriors – it's not like the Warriors just sat there. They got better. And the scary thing about the way they got better is they get a chance to get better for years to come because all these young guys around their quote-unquote big four, especially the big guys, get to come in and learn. They're young guards. Quinn Cook gets to develop and improve because depending on how they play, he might get a lot of run behind Steph. You know, you got Jordan Bell and big guys, the big men getting to play while Boogie just sits back and gets healthy. So these guys get to play in really a perfect offense because you can't double the big, and they get to improve. They get to develop. They get to go chase their money if they choose to bounce or if they choose to stay. And then once Boogie comes back, if everything heals correctly, I mean, I think it's going to be a done deal.
Oh, yeah, I think this one right here is a slam dunk here. I mean, I think the Golden State Warriors winning, and I don't think anybody is really close. But I will say this, you know, to Matthew's point, LeBron is with guys who hasn't learned how to win. Utah, I think they're getting there. You know, they got Gobert, you know, Donovan Mitchell. They drafted Grayson Allen this year. You know, I think one of the surprise teams coming this year in the Western Conference will be the Dallas Mavericks. I think what they did in the offseason, I think they helped themselves. Now I hear Dirk is going to be out for a few weeks. You know, he's getting up there in age, but I think Dallas will be a surprise team. But I think this is the Golden State Warriors seasons to lose. I mean, you got Steph, 2-time MVP, first unanimous MVP. You got Kevin Durant, 7 feet, who can put the ball on the floor, who can shoot over anybody in the NBA, can go past guards. I mean, can go past bigs, can shoot over guards. It's really unfair. And to Matthew's point, it's not like everybody else was getting better. You know, like teams were actually adding pieces and all of that stuff. And the Golden State Warriors was like, oh, we're good. You know, they went and got Boogie Cousins. And to your point about the young guys, Matthew, Jordan Bell was already having a really nice playoffs last year, even a pretty good finals last year. Now imagine what that does for him now with no JaVale and no Boogie to start the year off. This guy is going to get crazy amount of experience. He's going to be probably the breakout player of the year this year. I can already see it because to your point, Matthew, you can't double anybody. Who are you going to double?
Right.
Who you going to? And if you do double, you're going to leave somebody open. So I think the Warriors. This is the Warriors to win. I think they're going to cruise in the regular season because they talked on and on about how tiring it is to keep going to these finals. You know, so I think they're going to do the Popovich thing. Me and Matthew talked about it on the podcast one time. You know, they're going to find a few ways. Steph got a sore ankle here. Quinn Cook, get your big moments in there because he actually slipped up in the playoffs last year. And he almost cost them one in the finals. That is. I think he gets that valuable experience. I think all these other young guys, they get valuable experience, you know, through the season. I think it's the Warriors and nobody else, really.
All right, guys.
And then the crazy thing is, just one about the young guys. The Warriors can use that as trade bait. If they get Jordan Bell balling out by the All-Star break, maybe you know Boogie's really healing well. Maybe you trade him for a first-round pick or something. I don't know how, you know, or maybe you trade him for another big man to, you know, maybe you set your future up really well. And who knows that Jordan Bell is really that good, or if he just plays really that good in a very efficient offense. But move on, Billy or Mike.
All right, guys, moving on here. Overreaction, underreaction Tuesday. First underreaction question: Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL today. Matthew.
Too soon to tell. So if I had to give an answer, I'll give it overreaction. And the only reason I'm going to give it that, and this argument was inspired, or this my discussion or point of view was inspired by the news, if you'll call it that, of Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson breaking up and calling off their engagement. Everybody wants to get married after 6 months because life's great. There's no fighting. You haven't had to be tested. There's no real, you're not living together more than likely. You don't know how this person reacts. You don't know how this person eats. You don't really know how this person sleeps. Maybe you're a neat freak and the other person likes to come home from work and just flop down on the couch and throw their stuff everywhere. It's things that you learn over a test of an actual relationship, over being together for X amount of time, over living together for X amount of time, over the engagement. And then you get married. And those are the ones that typically tend to last. Patrick Mahomes has done a lot of things to really, really impress me. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. He went up against a solid Denver Broncos defense, and he put up points. He played against arguably a really good defense. Now, after the Dallas game, it kind of loses some of its luster, but he looked really good against Jacksonville. And then he took a maybe not as good of a defense, but arguably a smarter defense, the way Belichick likes to prepare, and he competed. He got it done. He struggled in the first half, but he came out in the second half, and man, did he look good. And he was going up arguably against the best offense. He was going toe-to-toe. He did not get discouraged. There's a reason Tom Brady and those guys waited till there was no seconds on the clock, really, to kick that field goal. They did not want to give Patrick Mahomes 1 second. So there's a reason. But I got more to see. I need to see the things that come in the trials and tribulations of an elite quarterback. If you want to look at Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees, who I think are the elite that are active now. I need to see him struggle when his weapons are out. I need to see him struggle when it's just not his day, but still find a way to get a win. And maybe we've already seen that, but I need to see more of it. I need to see him get injured and come back of it. We've seen Tom Brady from a broken leg or a torn ACL. We've seen Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees with shoulder injuries come back and still get it done. I need to see him get hurt. I hope it doesn't happen, but I need to see some sort of injury and him to say, hey, that's not me. I'm not Deshaun Watson. I'm not Marcus Mariota. I'm not these guys who once I get hurt, I really can't be relied on. I need to see little things like that. I need to see what's going to happen when it's a monsoon. What's going to happen when it's a foot of snow. What's going to happen when my team's just not playing it, but, man, this team is. What's going to happen with things that, I hate to say it, things that take more than 10 games to figure out. Things in life that's going to take 1, 2, 3 seasons. How does he play? And we've seen how he plays in big pressure of regular season games. How does he play in big pressure playoff games? How does he play Super Bowl lights, cameras, action, everywhere around him? How does he play then? Let me see a little bit of that, and then I can go from there.
Before I start, I'm just going to ask you a question real quick, Matthew. Do you think Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
Right now, I'm going to say no, but I think he has all the potential in the world.
Okay,
just like I talked about, I need to see how he started to look better against the Giants. I need to see how he looks week in and week out coming off that injury.
Well, I'm going to say I think Pat Mahomes right now, not taking into account lifetime achievement awards, I think right now this season the best quarterback in the NFL plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, this season. Now maybe next season he may falter a little bit. Maybe you get that sophomore slump. We seen it, we hear about it. But right now in 2018, the best quarterback in the NFL plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is now 18 touchdowns on the year, 4 picks. He's been battle tested. He went to Denver and played in Mile High, and that's not a tough place to play. And the thing that I'm more impressed about with Patrick Mahomes, and we know he got the weapons of Kelsey and Hill and all these other guys. The thing that I am most impressed with, and that is his ability to bounce back. When things aren't going well for him, and it's been like that for the past few weeks. When things are not going well, he will find a way to make things go better in the second half. It seemed like once he played bad, it seemed like he comes out in the next half and he plays lights out. And you've seen the mutual respect that Brady has for him. Soon as the game are over with, Brady raced right over to the other sideline and found Pat Mahomes. That tells you something. This guy is the real deal. Now, the one thing I will say, Matthew, I think this was probably the best point that you made. All your points was good, but I think this was the best point. How is he, and God forbid, let's knock on wood, how does he react coming back from injury? Because that's the true test of a guy, especially playing a contact sport such as football. Are you going to be timid? Tom Brady tears the ACL. Are you going to be timid in the pocket when guys get around your feet? Are you going to get happy feet? Are you going to, try to throw off your back foot every single play because you don't fully trust yourself yet? So I think the injury situation is a really, really good point. How will he respond coming off of injury?
To that point, and as a fan, on a side note, I really had to hold my breath because tell me after Tom, now granted it's been 10 years since he tore his ACL, tell me that dive that Tom Brady made in the end zone did not look like the exact one that Carson Wentz tore his ACL on.
Yeah,
exactly. But let me ask you a question, Billy. You asked me a question on that, and rightfully so, good point. I can't argue with what you said, but I need you to really quantify what you just told me by saying that. So let me say this. Let's just pretend you had a say in this. You got the Buffalo Bills, who is the second worst offense in the league. You would have coached young, questionable, that hasn't really made his mark. You're down by 7. You're down by 8 points. You got to get a full touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and you got 20 yards. You're on the 20. You got 80 yards to go, 2 minutes to do it. Who are you putting back there?
At quarterback?
Yes.
Oh, see, and I wrote that down in my notes, so I'm glad you asked me that. I'm taking Tom Brady. I think that's simple. I think Tom Brady is probably one of the most clutch players that I've ever seen in my entire life. You get him the ball with any amount of time left, you can pretty much expect something fireworks to happen.
So okay, I'm glad you answered that honestly. And look, I think Patrick Mahomes is playing amazing. I do not want to take that away from him at all. But until but if I can't say strip away, and I'm not saying give him scrubs, give him trash out here, but you strip away Andy Reid, who's really good offensively and does really good when he's got a good quarterback. It's back in the days when he was in Philadelphia. You strip away Tyreek Hill, which is blowing my mind. Travis Kelce, who, depending on what day of the week it is, you could argue is he 1 or 1B or 2 as a tight end, greatest tight end in the league. Other great weapons, Kareem Hunt, who just keeps really shocking me, who I thought was having a sophomore slump, but seems to be tearing out of that. And are you still that comfortable with Patrick Mahomes? So I said, who's the worst offense in the league? It's Arizona and Buffalo and the Tennessee Titans. Arizona's got me fit, so I'm going to throw them out. Both those teams have young coaches who aren't exactly offensive gurus, so I'll take those. Now give me a drive where everything's against me. I'm losing. It's not like we're tied and I have to just get us in field goal range. I'm losing, and I not only have to score a touchdown, I have to get a 2-point conversion to do so. Who is my guy? I want the best quarterback in the NFL back there, and I couldn't say it's Patrick Mahomes yet.
I can't argue with any of those points, to be honest. I just can't because you asked a real question. You asked a real question. If your life is on the line, who do you want back there? Give me Tom Brady. As much as I hate to say it, give me Tom Brady. That that guy's a proven winner, and he's been doing it since his rookie season in the NFL. Give me 12.
And like I said to the point, I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything away from Mahomes. This is like that young couple that you see on Facebook for 3 or 4 months. It looks cute, has all the makings in the world. I just need to see more. And right now, I didn't want to put the words there, but you put it out there, life on the line. I can't give that to Mahomes. Not yet. Not yet.
All right, guys. So next overreaction, underreaction question: Los Angeles Lakers 50 wins. Matthew.
I'm gonna go. That's about right. I guess underreaction, if you want to say. They got LeBron. I know. Look, I'm not saying the Lakers are going to win the championship by any means, but in the NBA, where you have a lot of bad teams, where you play a lot of back-to-backs, and guys just don't seem to be as competitive. Well, I mean, it's obvious they're not as competitive as they once was, but even on a night-to-night basis, I see it all the time. Teams go into the fourth quarter down 15, 20, 25 points. They bench everybody. They don't even try to come back. And maybe it's rightfully so. I mean, I even see it in the playoffs. Game 1, you're down 15 at the start of the fourth quarter. You got the reserves in. Like, coaches, players, teams, they don't mind losing games as much as they once did. So I think you add in LeBron. I imagine the vibe around the Lakers organization is going to be off the charts with the new addition. I just think with as many bad teams, the fact you got LeBron, I mean, I think the Lakers over the last couple of years without LeBron have an actual pretty decent regular season record against the Warriors, so any team can beat anybody. I could see them stumbling at 50. Now, I don't think they're going to get 50, but if you said my name's Billy and I'm from the future and the Lakers went 50-32 this year, I'm not going to call you a liar. I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I can see that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not absurd to say it would.
I'm right there with you. I think it's an underreaction. I think it's right there. The Lakers won 35 games last year. So, you give me LeBron, you give me Rondo, you give me Lance Stevenson, you give me JaVale. I think you can win 15 games. Do I think it'll happen? Maybe not. But, to Matthew's point, if you told me they won 50 games, I wouldn't be surprised. It's only a 15-game jump. Just a quick little thing here. The Portland Trailblazers won 49 games last year. I think the Lakers right now with LeBron, I think this Lakers team is better than the Portland Trailblazers with just, Dame Lillard and McCollum. The Oklahoma City Thunder, with as bad as their chemistry was last year, they were third in the West last year. They were fourth, and they had 48 games, along with the Utah Jazz and the New Orleans Pelicans, and Boogie was hurt half the season. So Anthony Davis' team with a bunch of nobodies except for Rondo in the playoffs, really, because that's when he kind of came alive and they let him start. They won 48 games. So I think the Spurs with 47 wins without Kawhi last year, I think it's possible. I think it's right there. 50 wins is not too much.
The only caveat, the devil advocate, the only caveat I'd make to that is we're assuming LeBron doesn't do what I just told you every other team does. That LeBron doesn't take 20 games off. That LeBron doesn't say, hey, we're losing by 15 to the Warriors. Let's go ahead and sit down. Which, let me say that. There's nothing wrong with it. I think that's how you got to do it. And with LeBron being in his, 15th, 16th year, I don't expect the man – I don't expect the man to be 82 games strong, 45 minutes a game. I don't expect that at all. It's actually stupid if he does it. If he wants to compete and continue to compete, he doesn't need to. I don't want to come like I'm bashing it, but if LeBron gave you 45 minutes a game, 82 games this year, he himself is worth 50 wins or 40 wins at least.
I mean, you think about it in his 16th season last year. He led the league in minutes, and he played all 82. I don't foresee that happening this year. I'm with you on that. I don't foresee that.
All right, guys. So
not a huge overreaction, but yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so
I agree.
So moving on to the final question of the under overreaction with the loss to Georgia to LSU on Saturday, the two team theory or the two team hopeful from the SEC teams in the college football playoffs is out the window. Matthew, we'll start with you.
No, that's overreaction. Because we set the whole scenario off Georgia losing this game. Because Georgia, if everything pans out for the rest of their season, they're still going to be in the SEC championship. They're still going to get the chance to beat a Bama team. They're still going to get a chance to impress by doing that. And if anything, this made this more likely because now any doubter that the committee had on LSU I actually think that's a better chance. Hear me out. This is a better chance of this happening now. LSU beats Bama. LSU goes to the SEC championship, loses or wins, whatever. The winner of the SEC gets in, and Bama still gets in. So I think more than ever, the two SEC teams is just as likely. It's because now you have another contributing team that in the eyes of the committee. Now, I'm not telling you this is right or deserves to be or whatever. I'm just speaking on the eyes of the committee. The SEC just entered a new contender. When LSU beat Georgia, the committee said, we have a new puzzle piece that could contribute now. Georgia's still going to get its chance if it takes care of business the rest of the way to beat Bama and get in on their own right. Bama's probably already a lock in. LSU gets its chance to beat Bama and win the SEC and get in. Actually, and it hurts me to say this as a fan base, because a couple, and I'm not saying a lot of people, a couple of SEC pundits, I think it was two, picked Kentucky to win the East, which is possible. If Kentucky wins the East, even if Kentucky beats Bama, I don't think they get it. We talk about winning and earning credit with the committee. There's certain schools, maybe even Florida doesn't really quite have that credit with the committee anymore. But Georgia, Bama, LSU, Auburn kind of had it, but they lost it. Florida, Georgia, Bama, LSU have the committee where they are sitting in favorable minds with the committee right now. Just my opinion, but I still think it's as strong as ever. When me and Billy talked about this last week, it was under the mindset that they lost to LSU. They did lose to LSU. That doesn't change anything. Now, if Georgia loses again, you can bring that up, and then we can chat. If Georgia loses to Florida this week, that will have a big impact on that, even though I think LSU is still a contributor in that. I don't see Bama losing at least in the regular season, but right now, I think that's an overreaction.
I think this is an overreaction as well. I think Georgia losing to LSU was probably the worst thing that could happen for a college football fan, honestly, in my opinion. Because now Georgia is on fire now because they know they have to get to Atlanta. They have to, and I think, you're looking at the polls. The polls tell you everything that you need to know. Normally, the polls are not that different from the committee's view. A little tweaks here and there. I still think Georgia's the second best team in the country. I think the loss to LSU, I don't think that did anything for me. They were in Death Valley. That's a tough place to play, whether you playing there in the daytime or at nighttime. But the polls showed you that there's still two SEC teams that can potentially squeeze right on up in there. And what I mean by that is Georgia dropped from number 2 in the country, where they played horrible, didn't even look like they were Georgia, to number 8 in the country, I believe it is. So you can lose, get demolished, and you still only drop 6 points. Miami lost, they dropped like 10 to 15 spots in the polls. And that's the I guess I want to say the SEC factor. Yeah, the SEC bias that's going on there, where you can lose, it doesn't matter, and we still can put you there. Go ahead, Matthew.
As a fan, let me just rattle this for 1 second, because as a Kentucky fan, this can go away at any time. Kentucky is getting to the point where they're actually getting to enjoy the SEC bias. We're on a bye week, coming off an ugly loss to Texas A&M. We moved up 4 spots. And I think the only reason it did is because who else is looking good? Florida and Mississippi State. And they're saying, hey, Kentucky's got the number 3 defense or number 4 defense in the country, number 2 in the SEC. And look what they're doing. Move them up. They're part of the SEC brotherhood now. So, look, and with a Kentucky fan, we could drop one to Vandy and all that be done like a broken glass. But to show you how true, to build on Billy's point, how true that SEC bias is, who would have thought a Kentucky team on a bye week would move 4 spots? Not just 4 spots like 25 to 21. We're dangling in the top 10. That's crazy.
It's wild.
If we would have beat Texas A&M, and I'm just saying this, I'm not saying this as a Kentucky fan, I'm saying this as the SEC bias goes. Had we been undefeated, had we beat Texas A&M, I guarantee you we moved up in the top 5.
just because we were an SEC school.
Easily, yeah. I mean, and it's that way. You think, and they did this for a reason. I think the committee first rankings next Tuesday when they come out, it's always that first Tuesday after week 8. I think the committee is going to be right there with this poll. You know why? Because now it gives Georgia, it's saying, you know what, Clemson, you know what, Ohio State, you know what, Notre Dame, show me you're that good. Show me you're that good. Because if not, we got teams right here that we can slide right back in there that we want to slide in there anyway. So do us all a favor and, choke like you normally do. And so we can go ahead and have this 2-team SEC showdown again for the national championship. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind it because it was such a good game last year. But as a fan of the sport and as a ACC guy, I hate to see 2 SEC teams in there, especially when losses should matter. When you lose, that should matter, But obviously it don't. I think it's overreaction. I think the SEC get 2 teams in there. And listen, watch out. You may get 3. Who knows, man?
I was about to say that. And like we said with the NFL saying, hey, you're not going to give me legit quarterbacks, we're going to create them. We're going to create a passing role where everybody can be a legit quarterback. I think Billy's got a great point. The committee's saying, you're not going to give me legitimate teams, we're going to create legitimate teams. And don't let LSU beat Bama and then the LSU-Georgia championship game be great, because Billy's right. And if Notre Dame, Ohio State, I think they got a pretty solid chance. But if Notre Dame, Clemson lay some eggs down the stretch, don't be surprised if you don't see number 1 seed Ohio State, number 2 Georgia, number 3 Bama, number 4 LSU. Well, do not be surprised if that goes down that way.
I definitely agree.
And if that happens, I think the rest of the college football world will boycott the playoff. Let's be honest.
But here's the thing. Just like boycotting in today's society goes, it looks good on paper. It looks good on Twitter. But I guarantee you those views will still be there.
All righty, guys.
Definitely agree.
And speaking of Twitter, Billy, where can people find you and the Unpopular Opinion podcast at?
Grand Hefe on Twitter, GRANXJEFE. I've been giving you guys wrong information lately. I'm sorry about that. On Twitter, the Twitter handle for the Unpopular Opinion page is Unpopular 2018, not Unpopular Opinion 2018. It's Unpopular 2018 on Facebook. However, it is Unpopular 2018. And also, the Unpopular Opinion podcast is now available on iHeartRadio. So for all you iHeartRadio listeners out there, when I go live, you can join me.
And as you see, big things are happening over there on the Unpopular Opinion podcast. All the links to Billy's stuff is down in the description below here on the YouTube live format here. And also up there at the top right, you see a little card. That is breaking news that Billy broke yesterday about the Bucks defensive coordinator Mike Smith getting fired. If you guys like the breaking news, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. And every time Billy or myself or Chris or Matthew, we go live with breaking news from your ACC conferences, Big 12 conferences, the NFL, NBA, etc., you will get the notifications. So as always, guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, have a great day.